Alright. Hello. I'm gonna start the VOD review now. So first I'm going to go over the video, and then I'm gonna go over like anything else that I think might be helpful, or if I wanna create a visual. So sometimes having a visual can help people like get the picture. I know it does for me. But like there's some resources in OFS that I wanna show you when I'm done reviewing this. Okay. So first, like it's always good to like look at the comp, like when you're starting a wave, like in random rotations. So because like you don't know what you're gonna get until it's just there, and then you need to figure out like quickly like okay, what weapons are best for what. The most like set in stone and like important roles to go over, I think, but like in your head, like if there's no VC, is like what weapon would be best to take out sticks, and what weapon would be good to go to big shot. Um, and for stick weapons, like fish stick, you want weapons that are not like the main part of like DPS for a comp, but have a lot of range. So for this one, it's like not super clear. Honestly, like H3 could get sticks. Dualies could get sticks. Like either or. It's not as well defined as a comp of like a clear like amazing stick weapon like a Jet Sculpture, Liquid for Sticks, or Rapid Blaster Pro. They can cancel sticks. But yeah, I'll just start it. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like to just like always like make sure I'm like just like shooting at something. If I got time to spare. So it wasn't really necessary to like go like all the way around to get onto the ramp. You probably could have just like gone up from like here, and then you just be in position to splat that. And the thing with Drizzlers is that like they have some downtime, like where you can't just hit the torpedoes. You can just spend that time just like getting rid of the lessers here and stuff. And like the bomb thrower earlier and some other things like that, like they're more like mechanical like issues that you just need to practice more. But mistakes always happen, like no matter where you're at, of course. Yeah. I think here, like you're like a little bit like you're a little bit like overwhelmed by like decisions like that you could be making. Like there's like plenty of options to go for from there. Like one, there was it's like the fish stick that you could go for here, or there was the torpedo that you could reflect to hit the drizzler, or there was the steelhead that your teammate was trying to get earlier. And I think you're like a bit like torn between decisions, but I think like deflecting the torpedo and then trying to get the steelhead would be like the best options. Because the splat roller, it really does struggle with steelheads. It's pretty difficult to like one cycle them unless you are preemptively like swinging at the steelhead before it is vulnerable and it has the sort of like balloon appear in its head, like the thing here. But yeah, and I know I'm being super nitpicky, but like when you're like throwing eggs in baskets, it's always good just to like throw them like immediately. Like if you don't have any sort of like threat on you, like here, nothing going on. So you can just throw that egg before you get onto the platform. And then when you're swimming up, you are recovering more ink, and you can just grab the egg while going to this swimmable area here. Yeah, it's very nitpicky of me, I know, but like little optimizations like that, they can make a difference. Or just like throwing the egg in there if you're not planning on using your ink tank. Like the decisions there you can make, like there's two different ones where you either throw in the egg and then swim up to grab that one and throw and put it in the basket, or you could hold on to your ink there and start just like shooting at the enemies here. But you want to make sure that you're always using like your ink tank. But you do have two people here to support this area, so it's like they're not like completely overwhelmed if you're not constantly like supporting them. But yeah. Okay, so there, we know one person's down behind you. There's two scrappers down as well. Um, I think it would have been good to like commit there instead of pivoting to go towards the lids because like you're leaving them there, they're still alive and they're gonna come back to haunt you pretty much because you're very low on time here. You have 16 seconds left. One of them is stunned and partially damaged, so it'd be an easy kill. But it'll be it'll be a bit too late to kill them once they come back up the ramp, if that's what you're trying to do here. I think it's good just to like push in there when you see everyone else also pushing it. It's good to like move in like all together as a group. Cause like because you were just standing over here, you had some downtime where you weren't really doing much. Like there's nothing to do over here, but there's stuff to do over here. But like if you had a stick canceling weapon, like if you had a weapon that could reach the small fries on the stick while it's in the air, then I could totally see why like you might want to like wait here and try to deal with it, but your weapon is not able to reach it. Also very nitpicky, I know. Just like put in the eggs like whenever you get the chance. Like if you had a chance there, put in the egg, and then you have you can just pick up an egg immediately later. It makes things easier for you. But you got it in there, so it doesn't really matter. So right there, if you want to stall the lid, that's fine. It looks like you didn't really want to there, and when you're painting on the side over here, you lost sight of, or you forgot that there was bosses spawning there. But like yeah, like when you see one boss, it's always gonna be more, and because of like your positioning here, it causes them to stall. But you just want to make sure that like while you're scanning, you like keep that information like in your head, like, okay, this boss is here. I want to avoid stalling them, or I want to lure them, and I want to make sure that I am a certain distance away from them, so I'm not going to stall them. And it gets easier over time, like to build that like sort of, I guess, like object permanence, or like to be able to know what distance is safe to do whatever you need to do and not stall a boss. But yeah, you're within it there, and because you see it, you need to commit now to killing the steelhead and then killing the lead. Yeah, like thankfully, like your teammate comes over and like they slam the lid down, but you want to make sure that you deal with it because like your teammate may not always be there to back you up, but it is really good to have a supportive team, and it's good on you as well if you can notice when your teammates are like needing help. Like for example, like if you see that like big shot cannon is like overwhelmed, there's a lot of bosses there, and a weapon might not be super strong for it, then you may want to help them definitely. Or like if someone is by basket being overwhelmed, like let's just say that it's like a weaker weapon, like maybe it's a backliner weapon, and they're on their own, and like there's a lot of bosses around them, and they are getting swarmed by lessers. Like you definitely want to help them there, but making sure to like support your teammates and stuff is good. And also just like when you stall bosses, like to clear them out. I just slam the lid down there. If you can like paint it, if you can like paint underneath your feet and then squid roll to trigger the lid, then it'd be a lot easier than having to do what you're doing currently. But you just gotta be careful around lessers when you do what I said, of course. But just making sure you always have an escape route is good. So like if you're going to point A, make sure that you can like cycle back to like point B to be safe. Yeah, it's that sort of thing there too. Like the way your position, the Quahog, like hit you into the water, like positioning yourself as well for lessers so that you get hit in a direction that isn't as dangerous as good. You can also use it to like get out of dangerous situations. So like if you were like say that you were too close to the lid or like too close to a steel eel, a Quahog can actually hit you away from it if you are about to be hit by other things. Um, but yeah, like if you back here, okay, a bit further back, I am wrong. So here, if you go around to the left side and trigger that lid, you should be able to have enough time there to slam it down. Um, and I think that that would help you clear that area a lot more because most important thing here right now is keeping up the pace of the wave. You don't have too much time left, but and you want all the bosses gone because you can't really get them closer to the basket at this point. Um, so yeah, just like getting rid of the lessers, the bosses here, it takes priority. It's good that you got the snatcher though. Recording this at like midnight might have been a bad idea. I'd like to see you use the Brella Canopy more. It helps with DPS a bit, I think, and it helps you like deal with like, the smaller lessers. Like you can just one shot the chums and small fry. Just like deploying it whenever you can is pretty helpful. It doesn't really it doesn't lower your DPS at all, but I think it would help you there. And also just like prioritizing like after killing the flyfish, prioritizing the steelhead bomb because it has a window where it's only like vulnerable for a bit for, and you want to make sure that you just get it first cycle, get it out of the way, and it also just clears out the lessers, which just saves you time as well. Nice that you got the torpedo there as well. Okay, this isn't on you, but like I'm noticing a thing here where your team it is faced like sort of awkwardly, where you have people who are trying to lure and people who are pushing ahead. I think the best option there would be to back up completely, like backing up to like here, so that like here or here, this area, so that the drizzlers earlier could come closer to basket because there you just had things stalled in an awkward place where you couldn't really do anything. Like you couldn't kill them because you had enemies in the way of the drizzler torpedoes, and you couldn't push forward because you have other things that you want to lure, like the steel eel. And I think I might have seen a scrapper, but I might be a little bit crazy. I'm gonna double check actually. Well, there's the Moz as well, and they put the flopper. So yeah, like backing up there earlier would just help you lure like the flip flopper, the Moz, the steel eel. But you would have to get the stinger eventually, but it was one of the later spawns. So I would have just lured there. But you need everyone to lure. Like don't be afraid to use like your callouts though for sure. Like you can this way to try to get your teammates to come back. Sometimes they just won't listen, but at least you will have tried. That's what I like more about DC is that you can just communicate like immediately. Like it's just like, hey guys, let's back up. Yeah. Okay, I'm surprised you did not die there. Good job. That was really rough because like your teammate brought the eel towards you. That's something that you don't really want to do with bosses as well. Is that you don't want to bring your boss aggro towards other people because it can get in their way and it can make things really awkward and difficult for them if they are trying to reposition somewhere else. So like the biggest the biggest bosses where that can be like an issue is steel eels, it can be stingers and flyfish. Those are the biggest ones. You want to make sure that if they are targeting you, that you don't go close to your teammates, just that you're not like in their way. Because you can kill them pretty easily that way. But yeah. Nice save, yeah. Yeah. I am surprised that you sent me a God of only day waves when you wanted to know more about night waves, but yeah, like for VODs in the future, um, you can submit like a VOD like up to like 2 hours though, honestly. Like um though I typically prefer to do VODs that are like about like an hour long, but it helps the person reviewing like identify like certain like patterns in like your gameplay that might need to be changed because sometimes like 7 minutes is not enough to really like notice habits as much because they show more examples. But yeah, um, biggest things there that I've noted so far were just like ink management, making sure that you're always using your ink. Um, Snatchers weren't really as big a part for this one. But it's always good to check for snatchers. Like at the beginning of the wave or so. When you're checking them, you don't need to be like constantly like looking around for them, but just doing like a brief scan, like as because you would like when you're like crossing the road, like you look to like the right for half a second, you look to the left, and then if you see one, then you see one. If you don't, you don't. But yeah, um, so now I'm gonna go over some helpful resources in OFS or overfishing server. In here, well, the channel's just called resources. There's a lot of useful stuff that you can use to learn, like at like any level. Um, this one right here, Hammer Time, it's used for like when people are making sessions. So a lot of overfishers are from different regions or time zones, and you can use it to actually I should make sure that this is actually capturing. Okay, it's not capturing Discord right now, my OBS. So I am failing as a teacher. But yeah, one sec. So I can move it to Discord. So yeah, Hammer Time. It's the blue and purplish one here. So you can just use it to make session like time slots. So like, hey, I want to play at 2 p.m. my time. Then you set a time slot to that. Yeah, I'm gonna open it up on my browser. Move to there just to show you how it works. It's very helpful for making sports sessions and organizing them. Because it's gonna be something that you're gonna be doing a lot in overfishing. Like if you want to reach out to specific people. Let's see here. Firefox. Okay. So yeah, you can use any of these here. I think this is in like European time or wartime. But basically, what you can do is that you can just enter in a date. So like you're like, I want to play on Wednesday at 2 or 8 p.m. Sure, that's not what I typed in, but that works. And then you can just click on like here for like hour, here to include the day, and like the day of the week if you want to. You just click on these, and then you can just enter it in, paste it in Discord. But I'm gonna move on to the map things and explaining certain night waves. So for night waves, they are like for like what you want to do for each one. It is unique to like every map almost. So um, so for like tornado, for example, I'm gonna go over that one first. Actually, I'm just gonna pull up a map here. First, I'll start out with explaining Bonerattle tornado. It's probably one of the most unique ones. So for Bonerattle, here it is. You want to avoid. Okay, so this thing here, I should explain what I have open here. So this is one of the resources from the Discord. This one is called Salmon Learn for Next Wave, I believe. Yeah, I opened up that. It's all in Japanese, but if you click on the top left icon in there, you'll see a bunch of maps pop up, and then you can click on different tides for each one. That's what I just did just now. Um, You have a bunch of icons on the left, so you can use them to help visualize things. Yeah, can't zoom out here. So you can get baskets here. You can get baskets here. Here or here. And there's like two main places that you want to you're throwing from. So you want to so like, say that you have eggs here. You want to get them to here, and then you want to throw them from here to here. I think actually it extends to here, right? Yeah. Okay. You want to throw them from here to here. So there's like a little wall here, but grate on top of it. You want to get the eggs around here, and then you want to be able to throw them across from like the neutral side shore area to this higher part on neutral side. What you're trying to do is like you're trying to avoid lessers as much as possible during tornado and Bonerattle because it just helps you save time really. So while everyone is like hanging around here, the lessers they're gonna try to cycle over to try to get the closest area to you. So they're gonna go all the way around to here, and roughly by the time that you're done throwing up all the eggs like up to here, and you all swim over here, the lessers start all here. And then you get to throw in all the eggs from the first crate in the basket while they're still coming back. And you just save a lot of time that way. But you're just trying to avoid lessers as much as possible until like the end of the wave or like the end part before you get up to here again. Okay, so like you go from basket down to here, grab the eggs from the center part here, throw them to here, throw them to here, and then once all the eggs are from here to here, you throw them all into basket. You then cycle back to here, and you rinse and repeat by breaking the second crate, throwing the eggs to here, and then throwing them to here. But in between throwing them to here, you want to clear the lessers out of your way because they're going to be in your way now by this point. So you want to get rid of any of them that are nearby you here. Normally a special is used for it, so like a good special for this, you could use Wave Breaker. Splashdown is fine too. I wouldn't normally use Splashdown in like Tornado much, except for when all the lessers have already spawned because it's very easy to like just get overwhelmed after using Splashdown. Or like it doesn't make much of a difference in the wave because it does not get rid of all the lessers because they just keep on spawning after. But using them after they've all spawned to clear out an area like this is fine. Or just having a good lesser clearing weapon is also really good. But yeah, so you can throw them into basket from here. So like all your eggs can be here, but then you collect the egg, you get it to here, you throw it into there. Yeah, and then it's all good. So there's a few like minor optimizations that can be made in this wave. For example, like let's just say that there is 4 players with 4 eggs, and then there's 4 eggs left here. Something that you can do is that instead of throwing an egg, no, that's the 2 egg one. Instead of throwing an egg, collecting an egg and then throwing one again, you can just throw an egg and then you just hold on to the other egg that you got and then swim over. And then you can save a bit of time there. Or what you can do is that you can quickly just like throw a few that are short of the place that you want to get them to. And then you can just throw an egg. Like you can do the same thing that I just mentioned where you throw an egg early this time. Um, okay, it's actually it's really hard for me to keep on track of my thoughts here. Wow, this is my first time doing a VOD review recorded and not just with words like in text. Sorry. Anyway, stay on topic. So there's a bunch of eggs here. You can save time like by throwing eggs to here, and then throwing eggs that are in this small area here to here. Grabbing the last egg that you can carry, swimming with it, and then by the time you're up here, your ink tank has refilled more. Then you can throw this egg, grab another one, and swim with it. And you can just save a bit of time with that. I don't know if that really made much sense, to be honest. But something that I can do as well is that I'm gonna link some videos for like high level people playing Tornado. Hopefully that'll help you a bit more if like some of my explanations are a bit unclear. I can see why they would be. um, yeah, so that's Tornado on Bonerattle. Um, I think I went over everything. Also, of course, like sometimes people can mess up. Generally, you want to avoid leaving like eggs here at all. You just want them straight into the basket. But if it does happen, just make sure that that you know if there's eggs there, and that you have someone going up at the end to collect them. If people forget to, if people mess up their egg throws, because often what could happen is that you have like maybe 4 eggs up there, which doesn't seem like a lot initially, but the difference in scoring in by an amount of like 8. So your score could go from being 60 to 68, which is pretty big. But yeah, I think that's everything for that wave. Um, so next we can go over cannons. Okay, I'm gonna try to get back from here. Oh no, I know it. This. So I can't read Japanese, unfortunately. I'm not bilingual. Just gonna move some things out of the way here, and the next thing I want to focus on is cannons or a Kohawk charge. So with Kohawk charge, you want to have the player that is like typically like it's like a heavy weapon or weapon that's like not like good for clearing, or what could be considered the weakest weapon in a comp being cannon. Let's say that you have Nova, you have Luna Blaster, you have let's give this comp Flat Dualies, why not? And let's give it Squiffer. It's an odd comp, but the weakest weapon here, which is like typically like categorized by like DPS or like DPS or like AoE. So Nova has none of those things going for it, so it would go in cannon. And typically you'd have someone going back cannon, and you would occasionally have people go in the side cannons to help support the back cannon if it looks like things are either getting a bit overwhelmed, or like if there's some bosses spawning that you know are gonna be a problem. So like it's pretty similar to how you'd use a special, honestly, but you just go in the cannon instead if you are not a main cannon. So let's just say that you are in this situation like you are the Squiffer, the Splat Dualies, or like the Luna Blaster. You might want to go into a side cannon if things look like they're not going as well as they should be for clearing, pretty much, or if you see a bunch of like static spawn that that the back cannon player is not gonna get. So occasionally like it's good to just like scan or like check behind you to see if they're in the cannon or if they're not in the cannon. And like if they're not in the cannon and like a bunch of like garbage spawns, so just say that we have this garbage over here. Um, then like by all means go into a side cannon and support and shoot them down. Um, Yeah, and for cannons on Bonerattle, it's really good to have people try to get like far eggs as many as they can. Um, there can be quite a bit of downtime on this wave while you're waiting for lurable bosses to come in. So like, let's just say that you had bosses in the front here that spawned, and that the backcannon quickly dealt with them. It's the beginning of the wave, and you notice that snatchers are coming from here. Now, you know that in this situation, because bosses spawn from here, they can't spawn here again until they have stopped spawning for different areas. So when they finish spawning from the left or right, they can spawn out front in the middle again. Um, and because the snatchers are here, they will not be optimized. These eggs will not be optimized, meaning that they will be lost if no one goes over there to grab them. So once these bosses are dead, um, it'd be good for you or another person to grab those eggs while you're waiting for other bosses to come in. So that way you get the eggs that would have been lost normally, and you're not breaking lures. The toughest thing though here could be accidentally breaking lures. So like, let's just say that you notice a lure boss comes in from here. Your teammates are here, um, and in this situation, you need to come back because you are going to stall bosses while you're trying to grab those eggs. So it's good that you're trying to grab the eggs, but you're at risk of stalling them if things get too close. So then you need to come back, and then they can lure in normally. So that's one of the main things that's like really important for cannons. It also applies to like different maps as well, but it's easier, or it's easy to do on Bonerattle, I would say for sure. Just because these spawn groups are pretty separate from each other, whereas for some they can be pretty close by, and it can be a bit dangerous more often than not. But yeah, I think that explains about everything for cohort charge. Well, I didn't really go over much with the cannons actually, like when like you're in cannon. So you wanted to learn more about like killing flyfish, if I remember correctly. I don't know if you know this about co-op charges, but the cannons, they have the ability to one-shot flyfish. So if you aim for this spot right here where my mouse pointer finger is at, in between the opened flyfish crates, you are able to one-shot it. So if you like aim at it like where this egg is, the center part, you can one-shot it. Or you can very well just like aim for each individual one if you don't want to do that. But it's most effective to just get used to aiming for the center part of the red and blue lids and then just killing it that way. Another thing though is fish sticks. These are pretty easy to cancel once you get used to it. But when fish sticks come in, you want to deal with them ASAP because you're able to cancel them if you can kill them before they land, and that way the center stick part it explodes, and more of them can spawn. You want to kill them fast because they're really easy to kill, and it's like free eggs. It's a lot easier than scrappers or any other boss because it takes less time. Um, but in order to kill them quickly, it's similar to what you do with Inkjet, where you aim for the small fry that are carrying the stick. So like you aim for one chunk of them and then another chunk of them. Like I don't remember exactly how many are on there, but the way to visualize it is like it's like a actually this would work here. So um, you want to hit out like chunks of it. So like you aim for like the small fry here and the small fry here and the small fry here, and then you can get them all done in like a few shots. But yeah, so canceling stick's really important. You can one shot flyfish by hitting there. And for other things, you can kill lids as well, like before they stall. So if you want to, you can like preemptively damage them by hitting them once and then letting them live. I don't remember off the top of my head if a direct hit on a lid kills it instantly, but I know that an indirect won't. Um, but yeah, it's like preemptively damaging bosses is good. Making sure to stay on top of lessers is also good. And whenever you have downtime on cannons, it's good to just refill your ink. You can put your teammates at risk when you need to refill for ink, but you don't have time for it. So let's say that like you have a bunch of bosses coming in right now, but and you're the Nova here, but you need to refill your ink because you're out of ink and you can't kill them. These guys should be fine, really. Like these weapons specifically, they're really good for getting rid of steelheads, but they could struggle, and they won't expect you to not have ink for it. So you want to make sure you have ink to clear them. That you're saving and managing your ink well when you're cannon. It's honestly one of the toughest things to do. Oh yeah, and also like damaging Jodzos before they land as well is like really useful. So like while they're in the air, just shooting them to deal extra damage to them. It's also another way to save time. For other bosses, aim for the center of stingers. That way you can just one shot them. So like they have 7 pots, aim for the middle one, and you can one shot them, or at the very least two shot them. Steel eels, you can you can preemptively damage them as well if you want to lure them. So like let's say like in this situation, you get a steel eel coming from here, and you want to lure it because the eggs are not optimized. You can hit the steel eel once, so that way you don't kill it, but it's damaged, which makes it easier to kill later. So hit it once, and then when it comes around, and you're like, okay, here is good. I want to kill it here because the eggs will be closer. Then you can shoot it and kill it. But yeah, I think that's like everything for cannons, really. So I'm gonna go over what's another wave that's nighttime. Mothership. Okay, Mothership is really tough, honestly. So main thing for Mothership is that you want to have your weapons equally spread out, and you want to have the weapon with the longest range cover the most difficult area to get around. So I believe in this in this app there should be, well, or a site I mean, you should be able to see the Mothership nodes or like where the Chinooks can spawn. I don't know what that is. I have no idea. Um, Also, I really hope that my mic is like loud enough right now because I have no idea, and I don't want to have to re-record this because this is a lot of yapping. That's not it. But yeah, Nova is actually pretty good for Mothership because of its longer range. It does take more than one hit to kill the crates, which is unfortunate. That's not it. Okay, that's the one, finally. Okay, so, um, yeah, this is a tricky one. I am honestly the least confident about Mothership when it comes to low tide. Um, for Bonerattle. It's like, it's really awkwardly spread out. Um, if you have, I think that Dooley's here could reach out here. Luna's not great for this. Short range weapons often struggle. Hmm. Honestly, in this situation, like for Mothership, what I recommend, like, but before getting into a session, I recommend looking at all the weapons in a com and then thinking about, okay, what weapon would be good for what. So that way you're not like trying to figure it out in the middle of the wave. Um, so like here we know that Luna Blaster is short range. It's not gonna be very good for covering large areas. Splatulus is like an all-arounder. Its rolling state, I believe, gives it more range. So that's something to keep in mind. And the Squiffer is like pretty similar to Dualies with like with range, but it's like a little bit smaller. And Nova's best. So I think I think the back here is like the biggest area you need to cover. So I'd have Nova go there. And I would have the shortest range weapon not stay where the snatchers are coming from because that way Swiffer can hit those snatchers carrying the eggs a lot easier than Nova can. Because it has like less shots, less opportunities to make the right decision, more room for error. And also longer range gives you a larger window of like being able to just like get rid of the snatcher, like displacing yourself because of like okay, I want to kill the snatcher here, but you need to like move forward for it, and then now you're displaced from getting rid of chin hooks over here. But yeah, oh yeah, so something important for this wave is it's where do you grab from? I don't know. I forgot. Um, I'm gonna look it up. So mothership, I believe, comes from here. Comes from here roughly. Often, I think crab could be good here. So for crab usage, what you want to do is you want to aim it above the mothership while it's coming towards basket, and you want to deploy it a few seconds before it latches on the basket. And what you're trying to do with the crab is that you're trying to hit as many chin hooks in the air above the basket as you possibly can. And you want to arc your shots so that they can both hit the chin hooks but also land on the mothership. So you can like imagine a parabola and one end of the parabola would be where you're at and the other end should be where the mothership is. So the shots move in an arc and they land on the mothership. And you want to be hitting the chin hooks. And by doing that, you just get a lot of extra eggs. Um, yeah, I'm hoping I'm not like saying like too much like information that you already know, because I could totally be doing that, and if I am, my bad. But yeah, so crab a few seconds before, and it's good to have the crab like when you can position so that it can be behind the mothership. That makes it a lot easier to hit the chin hooks coming out of the mothership. Yeah. So I'm gonna send you a video as well for this wave because I am not as confident about when you crab or not. Sorry, not when you crab, where you crab, because it could be here or it could be here. But I have a feeling that it's here. So tornado, fog, mothership, wait, fog. I've not gone over fog yet. Fog, it plays pretty similarly um to just like a regular day wave, except for you have goldies coming in. And you want to avoid killing the goldies too early. So like, kill them within this area. It's a general rule for day waves as well, or for a day low tide day on Bonerattle actually, which I can just go over at the same time as I'm doing this. So, you know, you have bosses coming in. You want to back up for them so that they can come into here, then kill them in here. This is like the general kill range. It's fine to kill statics because you got to, or like it's fine to kill enemies by big shot. If you get like bosses there, like let's say you get like a Drizzler there, you can kill it there, or like an eel, just anything really, as long as you just put the eggs in. And of course, it's always good to grab the unoptimized eggs on like day waves as well, or fog. So like, you also need to be mindful of like not stalling. So what I'm saying right now, it overlaps with what I said about cannons and grabbing far eggs. So like, say you're trying to grab these eggs, snatchers here, not optimized. got bosses here. You can grab these eggs. But if they get here, start getting to here, then you want to back up because then you're starting to get into their range. So while you're egging, be mindful of what's going on around you, you know. So you don't want to stall them here or here. That's where they will stall. Keep in mind like enemy ranges as well. There's different resources to see different enemy ranges as well. I'm gonna pull up a separate recording and try to find those for you. But yeah, Fog it plays very similarly to Daywave. I already said that. You can kill Goldies at Big Shot if you want to. And you can kill early, of course. So like, let's just say that, or you can kill early under certain circumstances. So let's just say that you have the steelhead here, and it's like, it's more than 50 seconds left. Yeah, I don't, I don't know if you know this, but like, there's a certain time limit roughly for waves um, when there's not enough time for snatchers to grab eggs far away from basket and bring them closer to basket. So let's say that there's less than like roughly like 52 seconds left. Like there's like there's like 40 seconds left. The snatcher won't be able to grab that egg in time to bring it to basket, or it might just barely make it. But a general rule that overfishers go by is to stop killing early when eggs can be optimized by like 52 seconds roughly. Yeah, so you can kill early as well when it's like applicable. Like right now, like, if it's like 60 seconds left, snatchers come from here. You have steelhead here. You can kill them. That's fine. It's here, and it's like the first spawns, and like there's a stinger. You can kill it early. Let me know if there's anything that you're unclear about. Also for like waves, because like I'm bound to not cover everything, or I'm bound to forget something, or I might not explain it clearly enough. I don't mind writing more later to elaborate on something, or like explain something that you might need me to explain. Um, but yeah, I think it's every wave for low tide, right? Yeah. So now I want to focus um on low tide or neutral tide night waves. So I want to go over the ones that I haven't yet. Okay. Or actually, yeah, I can just go with Mothership first. So Mothership, it's very similar to what I mentioned before. Um, but I actually do know where to grab for this one, which is pretty cool. You want to grab on these crates because the Mothership, there's an icon for it here somewhere, surely. There isn't, I've been lied to. Pretend that this is a Mothership for me. So it comes from like here, goes over, and then you want to grab when it's like about here, roughly. And then your crab can shoot the chin hooks coming out of it. And then like it latches onto it and you keep on shooting it. Yeah, actually, yeah. Around here, you want to grab. Make it to there both times. For weapon positioning on this one, you know, most important thing is like the long range weapon. Like where you put that. Long range weapon for this map is best put here because it can get rid of all the Chinooks that spawn here early. And like it can like kill them. I was gonna point out my hand, you can't see my hands. It can kill them early like around here. And it's really useful. Especially on gold rotations when you have like a Crisco charger. Like that thing can cover a massive amount of area. But normally you don't have that. But like any long range weapon is good for that area, like Tri-Stringer, good amount of chargers. E-Leader struggles, Squeezer's good for that too. You know. And let's just say in this situation you have long range weapon, you have a shorter range weapon. you have another medium range and a really short range weapon. We get to choose solutions. So let's say this is the comp for some reason. First off, this is a rough rotation, I will say. Um, but yeah, it's good to have the shortest range weapon up front. Not too many crates spawn around here, and having two mid-range weapons on the side. That's generally what I do for Mothership. Yeah, but make sure you kill like all the crates before they land. Take advantage of snatchers, of course. So like, um, what I mentioned earlier, like whatever weapon has easier time getting snatchers, make sure it's within range of them. Pencil can actually get them from there. You get snatchers from there. But yeah, I think that's like enough for like Mothership. I think you get it. It's very similar with High Tide. High Tide it plays like almost the same, except for there's just less places that it can spawn. Like it can't spawn here or here or here, so it makes it easier. I'll turn that off. I want to go over seeking. So you define the icons for. Oh, cool! I found it already. Yeah. Okay, so what we see here is how the gushers line up. Actually, no. I just lied to you, I think. Like, these aren't gushers. There's something different. One moment. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, that's the right thing. I'm not sure what these are, actually. Let's turn off those ones. So, oh wait. No, no, no. I know what this is now. I think. No, I don't. I'm sad. There should be. The main thing that we see here is. Oh, actually. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what this one's for because these are Drizzler jump spots. Okay, that's what this is. That makes sense. These are the paths that like Drizzlers can jump to. That's a feature of this site as well, where you can see where they can go. It's a bad voice crack. I had a lot of those actually. So Drizzler spawns in from here. What's the point A? It can only go from here to point D or point B. And if it goes to point B, and let's just say that everybody is like here, then it'll go to point H to get closer. So it'll keep on hopping until it can get to the closest place to people. And then once it's in range, it'll aggro. Aggro meaning that it will like try to attack. So for Drizzlers, it'd be like shooting a torpedo. Yeah. So I'm gonna actually try to find what I was talking about and not going on another tangent. So for seeking, you want to always be like looking for the Goldie, like have the gusher open or like be damaging it. And you want to keep on doing that until you can be certain that there's enough eggs for you guys to collect for like the rest of the wave. Seeking, this is probably the hardest map for seeking overall. Okay, that's the Mothership one. I'm really bad at this. Like, I have one job and I just can't find it for the life of me. I could have translated this entire time and made my job so much easier. It's silly of me. So yeah, when it's translated, it's like it's a pretty rough translation. It's like very literal. So drizzlers are called bats in like Japanese. So that's why you see bats fixed position. So that's spawn rates. That's tornado. This one's for tornado. You know, if it says giant or like giant tornado. Hmm. What I'm trying to find right now is the links for um the seeking gushers, because all the gushers are connected to each other. And it's a good way to figure out where the Goldie is coming from. But the thing with the gusher connections is that it's not always as like straightforward as it is for drizzlers, where like everything is a direct connection. It's not always the case, or like you have it sometimes where they'll cut across. Trying to find an example of that. But yeah, it's always like very important to take advantage of like. Okay, I'm gonna go back to talking to seeking now and not going on another tangent. Um, so long range weapon should always be focusing on opening gushers, and when you're looking for the Goldie, what I do is that I try to look where my teammates are not looking. So let's say that all the team is here. We just killed the Goldie. I will immediately go off to another gusher and try opening it. So that way I can get more information about where the Goldie is, or I might even have a chance of seeing it immediately. Um, and there's a few signs to watch for in seeking. Um, One is the brightness of the gushers. There is, and for that, the brighter the gusher, the closer it is to the Goldie. And there's one that I can't really describe because they're all just bright. But when you can memorize what it looks like, then you know where it's coming from. Um, and when the Goldie is killed, or when it goes back into a gusher, you can see one of the gushers light up if it has been opened closest. So let's say that you opened up. I'm gonna use the eggs to indicate gushers here. So let's just say that you opened up this gusher, and the Goldie went from this gusher to here, and this gusher was also opened. Something that you might notice is that when the Goldie goes into this gusher gets very bright. When you see that happen, you should try opening that gusher immediately once they've all been closed, because it's likely that the Goldie will be in there. But again, you can only really tell which gushers have Goldies by knowing what they look like, so knowing what signs to look for. I'm gonna find a video of it, and I'm going to timestamp part of the video so that you can have a point of reference for what it looks like when you have found the right gusher or when you're really close to one. But yeah, so there's sites to show how the gushers are connected, and there's sites to show the paths that Goldies can take. Often, like for Goldie paths, they can have several paths for one gusher. So one time, you open this gusher, you have a Goldie come out. It can go this way, or it can go this way, and those require very different things. But yeah, so it's good to know what signs to look for when you're opening the gushers, uh, where Goldies can go, and how gushers are connected. You don't need to memorize on a map how they're connected, but it's something that you can also learn from experience as well. But it can help you possibly, and also take advantage of snatchers. But that's every wave really. Like you want to make sure you're always taking advantage of snatchers whenever you can, because like they can just do some of the hard work for you by bringing them closer to the basket, of course, and having the long range weapon focus on them. Um, yeah, and also making sure you have like the DPS weapons focusing it. Oh, I did not go over specials um for seeking. So For Seeking, high DPS specials are better to use than other ones. So something like Crab can be useful for Seeking. If you like a really low DPS comp, this comp's alright for DPS. Sploosh in this example would always be focusing the gold because it has really high DPS. You need it constantly focusing it to make sure that it gets killed. But specials that are good for Seeking that are ones that have high DPS. So this one's good for it. Killer Whale is often used on like wave 3 if you have specials left. It's good to use it for killing goldies, doing a lot of damage to them. Leah Bomb, not so much. It's better for clearing. So I could see it being used if it's late in the wave and there's a lot of lessers nearby and your team struggles with dealing with lessers. That way it can damage the goalie, also do damage to the lessers. Splashdown is a decent amount of damage, but it's still not as good as Whale and Crab. All these options are kind of lesser to it. One special I would never really use Kraken or Jet. Jet's DPS is like 300 per second, which is lower than most weapons. It's lower than all these ones. And Kraken, while it can do quite a bit of damage, it can block the shots of your teammates when you're killing the goalie. So like you're in front of it right here, let's say for example, the sploosh can't hit it really, or has a hard time hitting it because your Kraken's in the way. So even if it does decent amount of DPS, it manages to lower the collective DPS being done to the goalie because it's being blocked. It's blocking your teammates. So yeah, it's something to watch out for. I think that covers Seeking. I'm gonna grab some water real quick because I am very dehydrated. I've been yapping a lot. Okay, so I've not gone over Grillers. Grillers is an interesting one. It's very difficult. I'm not very confident on it as I am on other ways. It's typically what people tend to do is that they tend to stand on this platform where I'm moving these eggs onto. People like to stand on there for grillers. I like to have them come towards them, and they will kill them once they get around here, roughly. Now, there's some flaws in this strategy. One of them is that it does not work well if you have snatchers from like here or here, really, because then they're not optimized by the grillers. And the grillers, they spawn at a continuous rate at higher hazards, so you are unable to get in all of the eggs from the grillers when you're killing them, like just here, and they're not optimized. So something that'd be good to do is early in the wave or whenever you can. Let's say that you have grillers coming in from here, snatchers from here. You can try killing them in your area where they're optimized. So you can try killing them here, like early, by like stunning them, getting your teammates to come over. This requires a lot of coordination though, because once you move there, then you need to move back if you get any from here. But you can try playing from here. Um, I'm gonna do more research on grillers because I'm not as confident about it, like I said. But you want to take advantage of snatchers, and the way that you can do that is that you kill them here for these snatchers. These snatchers, they just kind of suck with recruitments. And you could try getting them here to get them to go over basket, but it's really difficult. And you need whoever's being targeted by the grillers to stand on the lower area as well. Because if you don't, then, and they're coming from here, they'll just go like this. And that's not going where you want them to. Or if they come from here, they'll go this way. Which is not, actually, if they're going this way, then you can stun them here. And if they're going this way, then you can stun them there. But whoever's being targeted, if you're playing here, you gotta be mindful when they're coming from here. Because they will go around this way, and it will take 40 years, and then you will lose time and eggs, and also be in danger as well if it gets like to here, because then everybody has to get out of the way. Or you have the person jump down and realize that, oh wait, I am luring the grillers somewhere where I should be. But yeah, most important thing for grillers is to have a weapon dedicated to small fries, a weapon dedicated to stunning. A good stunning weapon is a weapon that can give a lot of DPS very quickly, which is like a charger. So like pencil would be great for stunning them, because they can charge up its shots and do 1,200 damage like collectively. I think it does like 200 a shot. I don't know if it has like 5 or 6 shots. I don't know. But yeah, in like in 3 charged shots, it can shoot like 5, I think. If you charge it up, with 3 of those shots, you can stun a griller, and then you can like hit another one. Yeah, you need to do 400 damage to a griller to stun it, and it's exactly 400. If you go a bit over it, then it'll stun it. But if you're like just at 400, it won't stun it. So you need like 401, which is kind of weird, but it's not really that important. So yeah, and you need a good small fry clearing weapon. A lot of stunning weapons that can struggle to deal with the grillers once the small fries are spawning. So like, say pencil, it's not the best at dealing with small fry. It can like kill them if it's being targeted, but then its focus from stunning is diverted onto the small fry, and then it can't do its job, which causes grillers to either keep them spawning and then not get stunned, and then the wave falls apart because you're getting overwhelmed and things are just snowballing. But having a weapon dedicated to small fry and clearing the small fry helps prevent that. So like in this comp, the lowest DPS weapon that can have a decent amount of AoE or big swig can focus small fry. Blasters can be pretty good for it, like Clash Blaster can be pretty good for it. Aerospray is fine. Generally, you want weapons that are not best for dealing a lot of damage. So like, Jet Sculpture Dualies could do that, I guess. Low DPS Blasters. Buckets too can be pretty good for it. Or Tetras, because Tetras are certainly a weapon. Relic Canopies can be really useful for doing that. Yeah, going over weapons that have like special roles for certain waves is also really useful as well. So G-Slosh. G-Slosh, fun fact, 2 shots from it can stun grillers. And you can shoot them preemptively to like save time. So while a griller is coming towards you, You can shoot your shots from like here, and then as the shots are traveling, this egg will represent the shot. It'll travel close to the griller while the griller's coming towards you, and then it will stun there. So shooting ahead of time is really useful for G-Slosher. In general, it is. It's a weapon where you really need to be thinking ahead when making decisions. And if you can like keep up with things like that, it can be really, really good. Um, it's an amazing stunning weapon. You want to make sure it's being supported by your lesser clearing weapon. Um, and yeah, people let it do its job, it can do great. You don't really want to be you don't want to be focusing small fry with the G slosher when you're playing grillers. It's just not its job. Another unique weapon for killing grillers is it is the Gitana. So Gitana, it can charge its shots and it can one shot basically anything except for like a boss like Boris or Joe or Kohozuna. Um, these guys can one shot grillers. They have the same amount of health, but they can one shot them. But you need to be really close to one shot them. So like a good place to one shot a griller, you could do it from like here. It's coming by. You can just charge up, hit it here, charge up here, hit it here. You can be standing here, charge up, hit it there, or here when it's coming in, you can charge up, hit it there. And another thing you can do with Gitana is like any other sword weapon, when you're charging, you can do a dash attack, where you can charge a shot and then you can push forward on the stick to quickly move forward, and then it will release its attack on the end of the swing. So what you can do with this is that when a griller is coming towards here, you can charge up and do a dash attack. That's helpful when you are far away from grillers, and like you need to charge up your shots because sometimes if you're here, you won't have enough time to move forward and like swing forward and then charge up your shots. It can be a bit faster if you charge here, and then you use your dash attack to go forward and hit it. And something special about G-Ton in particular for its dash attack is that you can change the angle of where the swing is really easily by changing where you're aiming. So how you aim for any other weapon, let's just say that this egg is it's like where you are aiming. So you're aiming forward right now. If you look to your left, then you're aiming to the left. What you can do is that you can look forward while you're charging up, and then you can do your dash attack. And while you're dashing forward, you can change where you're looking to the left or the right to attack to the left or the right. So if you're here, you're charging up, griller's coming this way, you can look forward here, charge, your dash attack releases, the griller's here, you look forward to your right, and then you can swing, and you can kill the griller, or stun it from there. So that's a cool and interesting like technique you can do. You can also use it on other bosses as well, like if you need to. These aren't things that you want to be using like all the time, or that should be using more so than just standing still and charging. But it's like it's good to have these because they're just like extra options that you can have. You want to have as many options as you can in Salmon Run because it allows you to have just more solutions. Like it just like not every solution is gonna have not every problem is gonna have one answer in Salmon Run. So it's good to have a plan B. And that's like a plan B right there that you can use. I'm gonna see if there's any other weapons here. That like have any sort of like special role. Mm. Like E-Leader's a good stunning weapon. Dreadringer's a good stunning weapon. Dapples. Uh, what are you called? I don't know what you're called. Bows. Something fun with bows is like I like to charge them like halfway or like one ring about when I'm doing damage with them. Like G bow, I guess is a good one to know. When you're really close to an enemy, your reticles are closer together and they can hit one enemy easier. So that way, you can almost like instantly kill a griller with like a fully charged thing if you're like that close to it. So that's good to know. Um, all the swords are good stunning weapons. These bows are good stunning weapons as well. Uh, Splatlings are good stunning weapons, really. Chargers are as well. And like the higher damage blasters can be useful for stunning. Dynamo as well. Oh, that's something actually I can mention for this. I forgot to mention rollers for seeking. I'll go back to that when I finish talking about grillers here. Uh, so, fun fact about Dynamo and Grisco Roller is when the tentacle of a griller is at an equal height as the surface that you're standing on, you are able to roll the tentacle. And something special about these rollers is that they can hit an enemy multiple times if you roll them a certain way. Um, which is typically done by like gently pushing on the left stick to move slowly into an enemy. Which is what you can do with G Roller or Dynamo. But basically that way, each one deals 400 damage by rolling. 400 damage, which can increase dramatically by hitting it like 5 times per se. I'm pretty sure they have 2,000 health, so that could like just shred a. It can shred a griller. Also, vertical swings can be useful for damaging them preemptively. That's something useful to do in grillers as well. Is like if you're all waiting for a griller to get closer to where you're all standing, you can damage it without stunning it with some weapons in order to make it faster and more efficient. It's just a way to save time. Uh, for high tide grillers, it plays very similarly to. No, it does not play similarly to neutral tide. I just lied to you. You are welcome. Um, a a modern strat that I've been hearing about for grillers for high tide is where they go here. They have someone swimming on the wall. Normally, this area here is covered by water. During high tide, and they have someone clinging to the wall here. That way, a griller it wants to go here, but if they're high enough from the wall, they will not be killed by the griller, but they will still bring grillers towards there. And they bring them there because if they do it correctly, they can kill the grillers, and their eggs will land on top of the basket area, which makes them a lot easier to collect. I am not super familiar with the strategy, like for playing it. I'm not as confident to like try it out and like do well with it. I will find a video for it as well because that would be more helpful, I think. But I'm gonna go back to what I was talking about with the seeking. So for seeking, something useful that I just forgot to mention somehow was that rollers they can use that strategy that I mentioned a moment ago to damage an enemy multiple times, and it's much easier with goldies. So let's say the goldie pack's going here. You want to position yourself with your roller so that the center of your roller is facing towards the goldie, and that you are slowly rolling towards them. You want to move as little as possible, but still enough that you're doing that it registers it as like you rolling it and crushing it. And you want to adjust yourself so that you are constantly in the way of the goldie, so that it's constantly like touching you, pretty much. So like it's just kind of like it's just like pushing you back a little bit. You're constantly moving. You're constantly rolling the Goldie as it's moving forward, kind of like that. I'm gonna find a video of it as well. It's easier and more effective with some rollers than others. The heavier dealing damage ones are better for it. So, basically all of them except for Carbon and Diggswig. Diggswig can get a decent amount of damage off of it. It just deals less damage. So, like, for example, their rolling damages are like 50 or 75 for Carbon, 100 for Diggswig. I believe 150 for the regular roller, 300 for Flingsa, 400 for Dynamo, and 400 for G Roller, which is not here, actually. That's interesting. Um, but yeah, they deal a lot of damage to Goldies. They can kill them very quickly that way. It doesn't have a DPS roller. And because, you know, or if you practice it enough that you know that you can kill the Goldie within a very short amount of time and distance. Like, I think you could kill the Goldie with Dynamo from, like, the Goldie movement from here to here. It can die in that amount of time or, like, distance. And you can use that to your advantage by having, by knowing where snipers are coming from. So you can wait until the Goldie gets to that area and then kill it there. Yeah. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention about Seeking as well. Um, Normally you want to be always damaging the Goldie. An instance where you might not want to do that is if the eggs are not optimized and you have eggs that you can collect while you're waiting for it. This is not really as common on Bonerattle because it's such a small map where there isn't too many places where like killing it is not unreasonable. It's just like you don't want to like damage it a lot when it's outside of a one egg throwing radius from the basket. Um, yeah, I think that's everything for this map for Seeking. I can talk more about other maps for Seeking when I get to them. It's taking a lot longer than I thought it would. um, okay, we have not talked about Rush yet. So Rush, the positioning is similar to a neutral tide griller's positioning where you want to play around here. But it runs into the same issue as neutral tide grillers where you cannot optimize eggs with snatchers when the snatchers are coming from here or from here. The snatchers will not bring those eggs to the basket. They're going to bring them here or here, and that's just not going to work for you. But if they're coming from like here, then it can. But you know, a roller, it can crush shrooms as well. That's also important to know. Similar to Seeking or for crushing a griller. Crushing grillers as well, only really done with Dynamo and G Roller, not so much with other rollers. But yeah, for Rush rollers, they're best used for crushing the chum. You don't ever really want to be just swinging at them. It's less ink efficient that way as well. Also, something useful for just standing still or moving very little is that you are reducing the amount of ink that you are using. So with a weapon like Dynamo, it's pretty ink hungry, but by moving very little, you can reduce how much ink you are using. And it can help you keep on rolling and killing enemies for longer, while effectively doing the same amount of killing the same amount, but it's doing less work pretty much. But yeah, you know, like weapons like rollers are good for killing gems, and AoE weapons are really good for doing that as well. So these are the weapons that should focus more on chums than on the goldies. Those weapons are like blasters. They're really good for that. Flushamatic or Gal or any other shooter that deals more than 50 damage per shot, so like 96. Those are all shooters that can one-shot chums. It makes it really good for clearing them. Dapple's also great for clearing them. so high DPS weapons as well. These weapons too, because they can like charge their shots to kill more of them at once. Gitana can just use its swings, it's like tap shots pretty much to kill them. Um, Jibo can do the same with tap shots, or it can charge if it wants to kill goldies. Brella is great for clearing lessers. G Dualies is kind of a tough one for me because it could either roll or it could shoot. It depends on what it wants to do in the moment, I guess. Either one is fine, but keep in mind how much you are rolling. Try to avoid rolling too much of G Dualies during rush because ink management is very, very important. Once things go south, it's very easy for things to go south quickly. G Slosher. Something you can do with G Slosher is that it's great for clearing lessers. If you attack once in a straight line, you can clear a bunch of them. Because the shots travel a long time and they don't die off for a while. They have a long lifetime. So you shoot a shot, G roller, like from here for example, it's traveling slowly here, and then a bunch of chumps are coming through here, super fast. It clears a bunch of them. One thing you gotta be careful of G roller here though is if you fire two shots off, it's very easy to preemptively kill goalies too early, which can kind of suck if like you have snatchers here, for example, because then you have a bunch of unoptimized eggs spawning somewhere where it's harder to grab them and less safe. For other weapons, G Blaster, great for clearing lessers. G Charger, it's good for shooting in long lines to take advantage of your piercing. That also applies to other chargers like Squiffer or V Charger or E Leader. E Leader, one thing about that though is that it takes forever to charge it, and it's one of the weapons that's better off being used for focusing goldies. Weapons that don't have great AoE but do a lot of damage are better for goldies. Actually, yeah. So like swords can also be good for clearing goldies because of that. Because a charge from them can almost one-shot them, or it can one-shot them with a charge. The dash attack, sorry. Whale string would be better for killing goldies, so would Tri-Stringer. Bella canopies are good for clearing lessers as well. You can send off your Bella canopies. Something cool about Tentabrella is that if you shoot your canopy against a wall, it'll stay there for a long time and bounce against it. That way, you can keep on like killing a bunch of lessers coming out, and it will last there for a while. Pretty useful. But yeah, it's good to like just use any umbrella canopy really for it. Only one I wouldn't really use its canopy for actually would be the original umbrella. The original umbrella you can actually it could be useful for it. I'm kind of on the fence about it, but I would not use its canopy in like any other wave, like any other day wave. But I use it for flashes occasionally if you want to. Something you can do is that you can have it open briefly for a bit, but not have it open too long where it deploys. And you can use that to clear lessers as well. Undercover umbrella, what you can do is that you can position yourself similar to how you position a roller with chumps coming in, and your canopy can just one-shot them. Very useful, but you have to be careful about the rush goldies because they can hurt you. Sloshers, it's good to aim above the enemies that you're trying to hit. This goes for any like large crowd of lessers. You want to aim them above so they hit as many as they can. Explo is a unique one. Explo, you want to kind of use it similar to how you use G Slosher, except for you want the end of your shot to land on top of a Goldie. Because the G Slosher, it has two hitboxes that deal damage. One of the hitboxes is for the path that the shot takes, so it shoots a ball, or like a cannon ball pretty much, and anything that gets in the way of that cannonball will be hurt and has armor piercing. But it also does damage as well when it lands on a surface, a solid surface, like a wall or the floor. So you want it to hit the floor or the wall by the enemy. And that can be used as well on the Quillhawks to two-shot them, or be useful for killing steelheads or like anything really. I'm going on a tangent there. So is there any other weapons that are good to note? Brushes are good for AoE, doing damage to things. I think paintbrush could be pretty good for goldies-ish. Wouldn't worry about it too much. Pencil will be good for killing goldies. These two chargers are an exception to the other ones because the tap shots are good for getting rid of chumps. H3, good for focusing goldies, but slow attack speed. L3, pretty much the same DPS, but it's better for focusing chumps because it shoots faster. It shoots really fast. But it's not good if you have shitty hands. I think I went over pretty much every weapon, pretty much. Something important though for Rush though that I did not mention is when you are being targeted by goldies. So it's kind of similar to what I mentioned before when I was like doing the actual VOD review with flyfish aggro or steel aggro, steelhead or eel aggro. I mean, sorry, and stinger aggro, is that you want to avoid hitting your teammates with it. So if you're being targeted by by the lessers, you want to either, if there's no roller or undercover umbrella, or a weapon like that constantly clears the lessers, and you need to move quickly, like let's say that you are being overwhelmed by lessers, you want to avoid moving where your teammates are. So let's say that you don't have a weapon that's like very reliable for clearing these things. You have this comp, and like you are being overwhelmed right now, and you are the slosher. You want to avoid going where the sploosh is right now, and you want to avoid going there because you might accidentally kill your teammate if you go too close to them when you're trying to run away. It's pretty common to get overwhelmed in Rush, even with like consistent clearing. But you just want to make sure that you don't get too close to your teammates because you can kill them. And when you have a roller, you want to stand behind them, because when you stand behind them, it makes it a lot easier for the roller to roll the lessers. And also the roller needs to like move around constantly when the spawns change, so like they can spawn from here at first, and then they'd want to go here, or they can go around here actually. They get here, so they want to go. The roller wants to go here. It's the best place consistently for the roller, regardless of tide. Even on high tide, it's good too, because it can stop spawns coming from here, spawns coming from here, or spawns coming from here. Is there anything else for Rush? I think that's everything. Let's see here. Weather waves. Mudmouths. Okay. Mudmouths is pretty straightforward. There's a few unique strategies for it. I'm gonna go over a really obscure one for some reason right now. There's something called pre-bombing, and it's used often in extra work, or when you're right by in my mouth. I wouldn't recommend using this until you've practiced it a bunch inside extra work. But what you can do is that when a mudmouth immediately spawns, you can throw a bomb so that when it lands and explodes, it's right inside the mudmouth. But you're throwing it early enough where it can go through the sides of the mudmouth. When a mudmouth spawns, there's a window of time where it cannot take damage from anything really, and it cannot hold on to bombs or anything like that. So if you try throwing a bomb into my mouth when it's in this state, when it just spawns, the bomb will go through it. But you can use that to your advantage to place a bomb inside it, like underneath it, by being close to my mouth and rolling a bomb into its mouth. And if you time this right, the bomb will be in there, and the mouth will be finally vulnerable, and when it explodes, it can damage the mouth. This can save time, but it's mostly just useful in extra work. And you want to be constantly killing mudmuffs, and of course leaving eggs where they can be optimized. So you have snatchers from here. Kill this mudmuff, leave the eggs for the snatchers. Move over to the next one. Next one spawns here. Kill it. And have some people run eggs. Maybe have one person run eggs and have other people get the next spawns. And you always use a special around 52 seconds. This is because when 52 seconds hits, you get 2 spawns immediately. Or at least you do in higher hazard. So you can get spawn here for 52 seconds, but then you immediately get a spawn here. And then you want to use a special for it. The best specials for mudmuffs would be Crab and Jet. There's plenty of other specials that can work well too. So for an example, Splashdown can kill mudmuffs, but there's a certain way that you gotta do it. You want to position yourself so that you are either so your fist of your Splashdown lands inside the mudmuff's mouth. So for here, for example, if you use it here and you're facing forward, or like this way, you're facing this way, egg is showing where you're facing, your fist will land here. You can do the same thing here. Facing forward, fist will land here. Facing forward, facing forward, facing forward. Same thing. It takes practice, but it can be worth it. It can save a lot of time. Fun fact of Crab, if you are at a higher platform like this, and you aim at a certain angle, you can deal double damage to a mudmuff. So instead of needing to shoot 3 explosive shots, you can shoot 2. So crowding from here is pretty good to do that, And then you can just shoot 2 into that one, shoot 2 into that one. You save quite a bit of time. But yeah, always use a special. On 52 seconds, say Booyah to signify that you are using a special. If you are in VC, you can also just say, hey, I'm in a special now, I have Jet. In VC, it's good just to communicate in general, like people will say like what special they have, and be like, okay, I have Jet, or I have Crab, or I have Splashdown, or I have Kraken. Things like that. Kraken, but you can damage my mouse with this pretty well as well. A charge shot can kill a mudmuff in 1 shot. Or you can jump if you want to kill it in a few shots. It's better just to charge. Killer Whale, you need all 3 whales to lock onto a mudmuff to kill it. It can be useful as well if you're far away. Strikes as well is good for it. I would not use Reef though. Reef can damage a mudmuff if you manage to get your Reef to go through a mudmuff. But I don't remember if it can one-shot it. It's less consistent. I would not trust Reef more than I would trust, or I would trust Reef less than I would trust these 5 other specials. You should just use them instead if you have them. Or yeah, Booyah Bomb as well. With Booyah Bomb, you want to have the highest health target closest to the center of where you're throwing the Booyah Bomb. So, if you want to kill the mudmuff, you aim directly for the base of it. That way you can one-shot it. Same thing applies to if you want to kill like a steelhead or a flyfish or any enemy with a decent amount of health. You want to aim as close as you can to the highest health thing that you're aiming for to kill. But yeah, especially around 52 seconds. I would mostly say that like Jet is the best one to do that because it has high mobility and it's pretty consistent. In order to damage a mud mouth with Jet, you just need to aim relatively close to like the throat of it. So when you're aiming for killing mud mouths, generally with weapons like that, with like whether it's Explo or it's G Slosher or it's Crab or it's Jet, you want to aim for like the tonsil of the mud mouth or like the base of its mouth. So like let's just say like in like your head you divide the space in between its mouth and like into like three parts. Aim for like the lower third of those weapons, roughly. Um yeah, I'm gonna talk about X Washer and G Swasher. If you are fortunate enough to get a rotation with those weapons and you get those weapons, and like you get Explode on the wave where you have my mouse, what you want to do is that you want to. I'd recommend standing around the center area so that you have to reposition yourself not very often. Um, and your primary focus should be just killing the mud mouse. Don't worry about egging, that is up to your teammates because you can kill mud mouse so fast that they won't have time to really do anything else besides egg and support you by clearing lessers. Most of the time, I wouldn't even really special. I might special if you have a G slosher and like you're getting behind in pace, but that would be a job for someone else besides G slosher to do. Um, but yeah, same thing with G slosher. You aim for the center of the mud mouth. There is a strategy with Explo where you can arc your shots upwards so that you can preemptively damage a mud mouth, similar to pre-bombing. I don't know how to explain how to do that, but I can find a clip of that interests you. It's not an easy tactic by any means. It's one that you should practice in scenarios before I recommend trying it in an actual game. But yeah, you aim for the lower third of part of the mouth, its mouth. You constantly focus on killing them. Stay around here when you're trying to kill, like when you're killing mud mouths, because you don't have to reposition very far as opposed to like if you're here and then you get a spawn over here because then you have to go all the way around or all the way above onto here. That takes a lot more time. You save a lot of time by just staying up here. And get snatchers of course when they fly by basket. I think it's about everything for Monmouths. It's pretty straightforward. But for most of these night waves, for like seeking or for Monmouths, you want to stop killing around the time where you have more than enough eggs to put in for the rest of the game. So if you have put in all the eggs and there's still a mammoth alive, then you know that you needed to kill more. If you are still trying to kill mammoths and there's just way too many eggs at the end of the game, end of the wave, and the wave ends, and then you know that you have been killing mammoths too late. There's not a set time for seeking or for mammoths when you want to stop killing them, but it's more so focused on how many eggs are available to collect. If there's plenty, more than enough for the time left, then you want to stop killing things. Stop killing bosses. But generally, you're always like killing, yeah. And it's something that gets easier of experience. That's a lot of things in Salmon Run. Like, a lot of these things will come easier to you the more you play. I'm saying a lot of things. It's probably been like 2 hours of recording, honestly, which is nuts. Um, but you don't need to memorize them immediately. You don't even need to like really take my advice if you don't want it. But like, take it gradually and like if you want to, and just slowly try like implementing whatever works for you. Um, Let me think of another now wave I haven't talked about. I talked about Rush. I haven't talked about Neutral Tide Fog. Neutral Tide Fog, so the main thing you need about this wave that's different from the day waves is that you have the goldies. that are tough to lure to basket if you want to lure them to basket. What you can do to save time instead is that if there is still enough time for snatchers to bring the eggs over basket, you're better off killing the goldies on the ground, in my opinion. So let's just say, you have the goldie here, you have snatchers here, and you have like 60 seconds left. A snatcher can bring those eggs to basket realistically before time runs out, if nobody kills the snatcher. So you can kill the goldie early. Now, if you really want to lure the goldie, what you can do is you can stay as close to it as possible. If you're the closest person to this goldie, it will follow you. Even if you have people here, you're this bush right here. If you're this close, the goldie will ignore these people. They're only going to go after you, so you can just keep on luring it and gradually bring it up here. I could see that being more useful for like high tide, where there's less downtime where like you're not killing the goldie, because in neutral tide it still needs to like travel up here, and they move really slowly, no matter where it's coming from. But on high tide it just spawns here. But yeah, you can lure the goldie if you want to, if it's not gonna be optimized. It's better to do that like after like 50 seconds left, and when you know that like you have time to lure it. If your teammates are really swamped and overwhelmed, then I would not recommend luring the goldie. And luring it is not necessary if everybody is on the platform up here. So imagine this is high tide right now, you're trying to lure the goldie. Well, this was any tide really, but the closest person the goalie is to, which is who is targeting, is up there, so it's going to go up there anyways. But if someone jumps down, then the goalie, it changes its mind, it goes towards them. This is important to know when you notice you're like, hey, why can't we bring the goldies up to basket? It's because this happens, or because people are careless about it, but people need to be really conscious about where the goldies are if they want to lure them. Yeah, and it's more manageable on high tide because you're more often on the center area. You don't really want to be. You don't really want to have everybody up here for um for neutral tide like day or fog really, because a lot of Bonerattle is focused on like throwing in eggs into the basket rather than having them be here. People will like tag scrappers, bring them up there, and like you'll do like little lures every once in a while, but you spend like 20% of the wave, maybe at most, on the center area for most weapons. You really don't want to be up there all the time. A lot of things you need to do down below. Um, what are some other waves I haven't gone over yet? I feel like there's more, but I think I've gone over so many. So, um, I think that's all of them. Yeah. I'm gonna lastly go over high tide, just to cover any sort of strategies that I might have forgotten for other waves, and the night waves on this. But I'm gonna end the recording after it because I've been speaking for too long, and my voice hurts. um, how do I change this again? I forgot how this thing works. I'm too tired for this. I can just do that, right? Okay, yeah, that's fine. So tide. Um, most of the waves play pretty similarly, except for Seeking. The Goldie has times where like you just can't kill it because it's in the water, or you can't roll it with the roller. Seeking high tide is just really hard, honestly. But if you are a roller and you want to you want to crush the Goldie, a smart thing you can do is if it's here, and it's gonna go this way. Instead of trying to roll it here, you can go on here, and then you're in position to roll it from here. Instead of rolling it for a little bit, and then you have to move when it's going here and you lose time, you're already here and you can roll it for when it goes this way or this way. But yeah, that's like the main thing I think for seeking that I didn't mention. earlier. For grillers, there's a strategy with that, but I already mentioned that I'm not familiar with it, and I'm gonna find videos on it. For a mothership, it plays very similarly to I wouldn't bump my desk there too loudly. It plays pretty similar to neutral tide, except for it's easier because there's less ground to cover. Um, for rush, you still play in this area generally. Um, for fog, there's the thing I mentioned about luring goldies earlier. You know, it's easier to lure them because the sides are split apart. You don't have to worry too much about being in the way of your teammates if you are luring something on this side. Because if they are focusing over here and you're close to the goldie, you can still lure it just fine. If they are dealing with spawns over here, like I said, they have this stuff. You know, you can just lure it if you have time to do that. Mudmouths, there's less spawns, that makes it easier, really. It doesn't really play any differently. Um, what's another night wave? I think it's all of them. I mean, I could be forgetting one, but yeah. And you wanted to go over fly fish in general. So it's a pretty broad question. I'm gonna double check all the questions that you asked. Um, but there's different tips for fly fish. For Bonerattle specifically, or for certain maps, there's places where you can do something called a one bomb trick. A one bomb trick is where you can place a bomb on a surface that is equal or higher level to a fly fish, and it can explode the crates, and it can be used to destroy both crates with one bomb. Um, Bonerattle, coincidentally, it has a lot of places for this. So flyfish, they can spawn in various places on this map. So you know you can have a place here, 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 and here. So pretend that this is neutral tide for a second while I explain this to you. The egg right here is going to represent a bomb. On neutral tide, there's two places here where you can do one bomb trick. And if it's facing here, you can throw a bomb here, that it lands here and explodes. It can take out both baskets. Same thing on this side. And one more place for it is this place right here. A fly fish might like start somewhere over here or here initially, but it'll move closer to here eventually, and you can do the one bomb trick here. This one's the hardest to land. It's easier if you are right here. It's easier if you're like right here and you like place the bomb down. But you can also do it from here if you can practice the throw for it. It is harder though, so I'd recommend practicing in a scenario that interests you. On high tide, there is another place to do a one bomb trick. You can do a one bomb trick right here. Throw it in. Yeah. And I'm gonna find some resources on flyfish as well for you. There's there's a lot of like readings you can do on bosses and stuff in the resources, which I'm gonna go over as well. I'm gonna double check your questions right now so that I can see if I missed anything or what was I thinking? Before I go on to the other thing. So spawn timers. Okay. So so for awareness, that's like a thing that you can build over time. Um for awareness there's a few things that you can use. Okay, so on Saint Runner you can rely on sound and sight. For sound cues, every boss has a unique sound cue, and over time you get used to associating them with bosses, and also associating how close they are to you. So you know, things that are closer to you, they sound louder than things that are further away. And you can use them to determine whether you need to move forward or not. But the most reliable thing for most people is going to be sight. where you can see how far away a boss is from you. You know, by just by looking. Um, so scanning pretty often is useful. So, you know, like scanning should be done briefly and every once in a while, just to make sure that you're not gonna get surprised by something. And it's just a habit you can build over time. And awareness or like knowing what to do is something you can build over time as well. Like the way that our brains work is that we can form habits, and like the more that we practice something, the easier it can happen, and the faster it can happen, like the more efficient it can happen. So like if you build a habit for like catching a ball, and like figuring out how to catch a ball or throw a ball, you can do it more quickly over time. The same thing applies to doing one bomb tricks or any sort of gimmick in this game, or just doing any sort of task in general. Um, for spawn timers they vary depending on the hazard level. I'm gonna actually go to a resource right now to show you what those are. I'm hoping I can find it right now. Um, so I think it's in this one. Okay, it's not this one, but everything that I'm gonna show you right now, it's in the resource channel in OFS. What you can do if you don't have this channel is that you want to go to like to roles, or yeah, it should be by events. Like if you're on a PC when you're looking at things, you should see in the top left part of the server there is events, and beneath that is channel and roles. You want to make sure you select any sort of roles that you want to have, and you can browse channels. There's so many channels in the server, it's easy to lose track of them, or to like not even realize that they exist. But yeah, this one right here, this one's just showing the damage that that bosses or enemies can do to you. So it's important to note these things. A player has 100 health for reference. So you can take, you know, like two big shot hits, or a flopper will kill you instantly unless you have some sort of armor from like Crab Tank or something like that. Slamming mid, you can get away with being hit by part of it. And yeah, so just feel free to like look at these. Fun fact: squid rolling, really good way to avoid taking damage. If you know that you're gonna be hit, I recommend squid rolling. So you know if you can't get away from a steelhead bomb, you want to squid roll like right as it's about to go off. So like half a second before, like almost instantly before, and then you can avoid being killed that way. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna try to find spawn timers. It is so late. What have I done? This looks like the weapon damage data sheet. I'm gonna translate it. I don't know if I can translate it. Can't close the tab. Okay. Yeah, that's that one. So there's weapon guides. There is the record sheet and resources. There is shift schedule for you to check. Fundamentals document. I think actually the document you took to get verified should be in here. Um, hmm. I think it could be in the fundamentals document. Hmm. Okay, I don't think I see it here, but I'm gonna find it later. But you can use like the image, or like the key to tell like when spawns will come in. So say that like whatever hazard you're at, spawns always come in at like a certain amount of seconds, and they always stop around like 28 seconds left. So when there's like 28 seconds left, it's a good way to know that like bosses will like stop coming in. You can focus more on like egging or whatever else you need to do in the wave. Um, but yeah, and better decision making is a pretty it's a pretty broad term. Um, it comes with experience, and also the best way to improve your decision making or like to like broaden your perspective on like how to make decisions or like what options you have is to watch higher level gameplay. I'm losing my voice. So like there's a lot of top level features that are listed in the resources page in OFS. I'm also gonna link it to you. I'm gonna be showing a lot of things. This is a lot of work. Yeah. So watching some of their VODs can be helpful. Something that I used to do for sessions is that I would watch ones specific to like the rotation I'm gonna be playing. So you can find out a lot about how different people play the same weapons or handle the same situation that you'd be handling, and seeing how they do it differently. So it's good to question like why do certain people do certain things in the game? Why did someone choose to make decision A when they could have done B? And often you can see it unravel in real time the benefits of making those decisions that they do. And then you can sort of use their experience to help guide yours. I did that a lot when I was first learning how to play the game, and also just like asking people how to do certain things. Like always like ask as many questions as you can, really. And decision making, it does just come with time. It's the best way to say it. Um, yeah, and like practice is nothing perfect. It makes slightly better. Um, but just keep on playing, keep on like looking to play with more people, and just keep at it. But yeah, like for future VOD reviews, I already mentioned it before, but you can you can send longer ones if you want to, like to people. I'd recommend like an hour or so, or like 30 minutes. But yeah. Um, I think that's about it. I'm gonna check if there's anything else, any other resources that might be good to show you. I'm gonna switch the channel viewing to Discord now, so you can see what I'm looking at. So I'm gonna explain what some of these are. So, you have this is a document. It says right here, really. It's general information. This one right here helps you learn more about damage, like how much damage weapons do. And it's important to know how much damage a weapon can do because you can optimize, like you can optimize how you use your ink. So with Explo, it's very important to do. Each shot does 300 damage, and every boss is around like 520 health or so. I don't remember the exact number. Don't quote me on that, but it's less than 600. So from knowing that, you know that it takes 2 shots to kill every boss except for Drizzlers, Big Shots, and Grillers. Um, so that way you can save ink by not shooting too many shots. It's good to know that, and also to know what's the best way to use a weapon, because for weapons like YouTuber, shots are more effective than charge shots, but for weapons like Swiffer, charge shots are better for DPS than tap shots. So there's a bunch of little things like that that's useful to look in there for. Simmering Learn for Next Wave is the visual thing that I was using the whole time when I was talking about the night waves. So like, if you ever want a visual representation of what you're looking at, or if you want to describe a situation, and you might find it easier to use an image to describe what you're talking about, or to give the other person a better idea what you're talking about, then you can use that. Yeah, and here These are weapon guides if you want to learn more about specific weapons. I've also made weapon guides myself if you want. I can share more information with you that I've already written down. Um, these are world record sheets. If you're ever curious about how well the best have done in Saint Room, you can check those. These are map viewers. Oh, route maps. I think this might actually be what I was trying to look for earlier. Yeah, this is showing. Okay, this one's for Splatoon 2. Here's another thing to mention actually. So the dots indicate which game they correspond to. So they're also labeled here, so we can tell the orange dots refer to Splatoon 2, and the blue dots refer to Splatoon 3. So these are all for Splatoon 2, I believe then. And this is for Splatoon 3, Splatoon 2, Splatoon 3, Splatoon 2, Splatoon 2. Yeah, you can see stuff like that. But there's a bunch of different guides here you can look at and stuff like that. But yeah, the most important ones to look for, I think, is looking at maps, looking at how much damage weapons do, knowing how much health bosses have. Um, the timestamp app is also useful if you want to make sessions with people. Yeah, but I think that's everything. If you have questions, just let me know. Yeah, this was a lot longer than I thought it would be. I rambled for a long time, so sorry and you're welcome, I guess. I don't know. I don't know which one. But yeah, hopefully the recording worked. And bye bye.